How's it going, peeps? It is now time for the Raw results / highlights and review video. I'll go over the results, some of the highlights in my opinion, and then give you guys my thoughts, my review on the show. So it kicks off with Seth Rollins coming out. He's like marching down the ramp looking all angry. And pretty much he's pissed off at what happened last week with Ambrose and the briefcase and the goo coming out and all that. And he's complaining about that. And, you know, yelling, you guys think it's funny, this and that. And then you see Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury come, like, at ringside, and they're, like, signaling for Seth Rollins to get out of the ring, you know, because he's a wanted man. Both John Cena and Ambrose want Rollins. And then Rollins says, oh, you want me, you know, to get out of the ring because, you know, these guys are after me. He says he likes that, this and that. But then John Cena comes running down the ramp. He goes inside the ring, goes after Rollins. Rollins runs away, gets into the crowd. And then John Cena's in the ring, and then all of a sudden, Dean Ambrose, like, sneaks up from behind Seth Rollins and just stands there right next to him. And then Seth Rollins looks to his, I think it was at his right side or left side, I'm not sure. So let's say he looks to his left, and then he sees Dean Ambrose. Then Dean Ambrose attacks him, and then Seth Rollins gets out of the crowd area, and then John Cena goes after Seth Rollins, and then Dean Ambrose jumps from the barricade onto both Cena and Rollins. But then Rollins gets up and he runs away, and then the Authority comes out on stage, and Triple H announces that tonight, Dean Ambrose and John Cena will get the opportunity to get their hands on Seth Rollins, because that is what the Authority is all about, opportunity. So he says tonight it is going to be Dean Ambrose and John Cena versus Seth Rollins, and then he pauses for a second, and then he says, and Kane and Randy Orton. So it's a 3-on-2 handicap match. And then after that, we get a 6-man tag team match, Dolph Ziggler and the Usos versus Cesaro and Gold Stardust. And before the match even began, they showed like a video package, or not a video package, but like a promo, a pre-taped promo from the Usos, where they make fun of Goldust and Stardust. They're pretending to be them. So basically they're mocking them. And then they end the promo by saying that the Usos believe that bros come before weirdos. And then I guess that pissed off Goldust and Stardust, because right after Goldust and Stardust attack the Usos, and then Cesaro also joins in and he attacks Dolph Ziggler and the Usos. And then Goldust and Stardust end up throwing Jey Uso into the steel steps, and this is all before the match begins. But then the match begins. And I like the ending of this match. It was a pretty cool spot where Dolph Ziggler, Jimmy, and Jey all hit a triple super kick on Stardust, and then they followed that up with a splash from the top turnbuckle by Jimmy Uso. So Dolph Ziggler and the Usos get the win. And then they show footage of John Cena on the NBC Today show or something like that. And the guest host, or the host of that show, then appear on Monday Night Raw with Adam Rose. I believe it's Katie Lee and Hoda. They come out with Adam Rose, and then they get in the ring, and they drink some wine, and all while like Adam Rose's music hits or plays. And then the crowd's booing them, and then they're wondering why, and one of them says, you know, my mom is born in Brooklyn, because the crowd is, you know, in Brooklyn. And then they start dancing, and one of them grabs, you know, a wine bottle and breaks it over the other one's ass, and the other one does the same to the other one, and then after that, they like got on the apron and fell on the rosebuds, and they carried them away. It was just a pretty, like, cringeworthy segment. It was terrible. It was bad. Anyways, after that, we get a Luke Harper promo, or, you know, a video package. And then after that, it is Bo Dallas versus Mark Henry once again. They show a replay of Mark Henry attacking Bo Dallas after their match last week. And this time around, Bo Dallas wins once again, but by countout when Mark Henry kind of snapped. And he was attacking Bo Dallas on the outside. And then he tried to hit the World's Strongest Slam on Bo Dallas through the announcer's table, but Bo Dallas got out of it and ran towards the ring, got in the ring. And then Mark Henry got on the apron, but the referee counted 10, so Mark Henry lost via countout. After the match was over, Mark Henry tried to get back in the ring to go after Bo Dallas, attack him, but Bo Dallas gets out of the ring and runs off, and then Mark Henry runs off after him. Following that, Dean Ambrose comes out, and he shows footage from SmackDown where he teamed up with John Cena, and then John Cena kind of left him for a moment in the matchup to run after Seth Rollins, and because of that, Kane and Randy, they all attacked him. And so he calls out Cena. Eventually Ambrose tells Cena, you know what, I would have done the same thing because I don't give a crap about you. And, you know how Dean Ambrose lately has been saying, not to have Cena give him a reason to hate him or, not like him. Well, Cena says the same thing to Dean Ambrose. He says, just like you say, don't give me a reason not to like you. And then Dean Ambrose all of a sudden says, you know what, I'm hungry. I'm gonna go out, take the train to Coney Island. And he just drops the mic and leaves. And Cena's there in the ring, left wondering what's happening. And then afterwards, they show footage of actually Dean Ambrose going to this train station and getting in the train. And then we see John Cena backstage. Triple H comes up to him and he sarcastically, tries to cheer him up. And he's like, you know what, just for you tonight, I'll put Seth Rollins, as a legal man right when the bell rings. So it's going to start off, the match is going to start off John Cena versus Seth Rollins. And then he reminds John Cena to keep calm and never give up. Brie Bella then takes on Summer Rae in a one-arm tied behind her back match. And Brie Bella's the only one with her arm tied behind her back. On the stage is Nikki Bella. And Brie Bella actually wins the matchup after she hits a running knee on Summer Rae. Basically, she kind of tripped Summer Rae, and Summer Rae hit Layla, and then she followed that up with the running knee and got the win. And then after that, we saw a bucket of, or a basket, I should say, of apples, oranges, and all that in the office, in the authorities' office, and we see Kane looking at it, and then we see The Miz and David Sandow come in the office, and they say this is their way of saying sorry in Hollywood and apologizing. And then Kane doesn't buy it, so he tells The Miz that tonight he'll be taking on Sheamus one-on-one. And then The Miz and Damien Sandow don't look too happy about that, so they leave. And then Damien Sandow comes back and grabs the fruit basket and takes off. And then we get Jack Swagger versus Tyson Kidd. And Natalya is at ringside with Tyson Kidd. I actually thought Tyson Kidd might win this match, but actually Jack Swagger won the match after he grabbed Tyson Kidd from the top turnbuckle and threw him onto the mat and followed it right up with the Patriot Lock. Tyson Kidd ends up tapping out shortly after. He tried to go ahead and grab the ropes, and he might have been expecting Natalya to push the ropes closer to him or something like that, but Jack Swagger got him back in the middle of the ring, and Tyson Kidd tapped out. And then we got an update on Roman Reigns' condition, and it was Michael Cole basically talking to Reigns, or, Reigns talked most of the time. It wasn't like a typical interview where it's question and then an answer, question, answer. It was pretty much just Reigns, giving an update on the situation. He says he's doing better and that hopefully he'll be putting on the vests back on sooner rather than later. And then after that, we get El Torito versus Hornswoggle in the Gator outfit. And in the match, or during the match, the crowd was actually chanting, "This is stupid, this is stupid." And anyways, El Torito ends up winning the matchup. At some point in the match, Hornswoggle was doing the Gator roll, and he accidentally did it to Heath Slater, who's of course on his side. And it's kind of like at that point where the crowd started chanting, "This is stupid." But then there was hope, because afterwards there was a really cool segment and an unexpected, outcome to the segment. Because it started off, it was Rusev coming out with Lana, and basically they were responding to Big Show's actions, and also responding to Big Show's apology on SmackDown. So they talk about the Big Show, and Rusev even talks, saying that once he'll face the Big Show, he's gonna crush him, and all of that. And then all of a sudden, I'm expecting Big Show to come out, because Rusev was all like, Big Show's not going to come out because he's a coward, this and that. So I was fully expecting Big Show to come out. But instead of hearing the Big Show's music hit, we heard The Rock's music hit. The Rock actually came out. It wasn't, Damien Rockdow or anything like that. It wasn't. It was actually The Rock. So that was a big surprise. He came out to a really big pop and made it a great segment. The Rock came out, he did his usual antics. It was a pretty long segment. just to give you guys a highlight, it was a funny segment too. He made fun of Rusev, he made fun of Lana. He said he went to talk about his day and how he arrived at the arena and all that. And then when he went on to talk about, him going to the gym, this was, in my opinion, the funniest part in the segment. He says, went to the gym, started clanging and banging, just like you, Rusev, except I don't pull up my shorts up my nipples. And then after that, he says, Rusev showing off, with him, with his shorts pulled up so high, showing off his Moscow moose knuckle. And he goes on to, make fun of them some more. And, he did the, it doesn't matter, and, he just did, all the stuff The Rock usually does. It was a really funny segment. He said Lana's beautiful, but she walks like she's got a Smirnoff bottle up her Putin. And in the end, Rusev is about to, attack The Rock, but before Rusev can attack The Rock gives him the first punch, and he gives Rusev a couple more punches, taking him out of the ring. And then The Rock's music hits, and then he, taunts or poses for the crowd, and then he shakes Michael Cole, Jerry the King Lawler, and JBL's hand, hugs a couple people in the crowd, and that was it for that. And then we got a Tag Team Divas match. It was AJ Lee, well actually it was Paige and Alicia Fox versus AJ Lee and a mystery partner. We didn't know who the partner was going to be, and it ended up being Emma. And AJ didn't look too pleased, with Emma, or didn't look too pleased that she had to pick a tag team partner. And they even showed, before, they introduced Emma, they showed some Twitter exchanges between AJ and Paige, where AJ says that, she's gonna find a friend herself to take on Paige and Alicia Fox, but then she's like, oh wait, never mind, I've got no friends. But anyways, towards the end of the match, Emma was the legal diva, and she hit a move in the corner on Alicia Fox. Alicia Fox was it was like a crossbody while Alicia Fox was down in the corner. And then AJ Lee's yelling at Emma, telling her, cover her, but Emma's just, dancing, doing her dance, and she's not really paying attention to what AJ's saying. So AJ gets pissed, and she just grabs her Divas Championship and starts leaving, and then that distracts Emma. And then once Emma turns around, Paige super kicks her, and then she follows that up with the Cradle DDT, and Paige and Alicia Fox get the win. And afterwards, they show a Eric Rowan video package this time around. So it's not just, Luke Harper video packages and focus on Luke Harper. They also focused on Eric Rowan. And then after that, it was Sheamus versus The Miz. And throughout this match, the crowd was chanting for Damien Sandow. And they were even chanting Damien Sandow's better. And when he hit Sheamus, when the referee didn't look, the crowd cheered for that. Anyways, in the end, The Miz was getting up and he was close to the ropes. The ropes were right behind him, and Damien Sandow was on the apron. And so Sheamus goes for the bro kick, The Miz ducks, and then Sheamus instead hits Damien Mizdow, and The Miz rolls up Sheamus for the 3 counts. And right after he wins the match up, he goes on the outside, and then Sheamus goes ahead and grabs a steel chair, and he runs after The Miz and Damien Mizdow, who run away. And then after that, they had Joan London come out and talk about the Susan G. Komen Foundation. And then following that, it was time for the main event, which was Seth Rollins, Randy, and Kane versus John Cena in a 3-on-1 handicap match because Dean Ambrose left John Cena. So, just like Triple H promised, Seth Rollins did start the match, but also, as expected, while he did start the match, he right away tagged himself out. So anyways, eventually, towards the end of the match, Seth Rollins and Cena are the 2 legal men, and I think Cena was going for the 5-knuckle shuffle, but then Kane gets in the ring and he hits a big boot on John Cena, and then right away, the referee calls for a disqualification due to Kane hitting the big boot on John Cena. And then Kane, Randy, Seth Rollins, they all start attacking Cena. And then Randy starts taunting for the RKO, but then Dean Ambrose music hits. And he comes out with a hot dog stand with wheels, and he like rolls it or wheels it closer to the ring, and then Randy and Kane look at him and they're starting to laugh. So they get out of the ring and they approach Dean Ambrose, looking, I guess, to attack him, but Dean Ambrose has like this holster where he's got ketchup and mustard, and he sprays the ketchup and mustard on both Kane and Randy, and then right away he grabs the cart and shoves it on Randy and Kane, and then heads down to the ring where he starts attacking Seth Rollins. So he's going after Seth Rollins, but then Randy and Kane get back in the ring and they start going after Dean Ambrose. But then Cena, he finally gets up and he hits the attitude adjustment on Randy. And then after that, Ambrose goes after Rollins and he grabs the tonsils and he squeezes Rollins' balls with it. And then Kane comes in and he uppercuts Ambrose. But then John Cena comes in and he attacks Kane. And then he also hits an AA on Kane as well. And then we see Ambrose and Cena, they're both in the ring looking at each other. And then Triple H music hits. He comes out with Stephanie McMahon. And he says that it's obvious that both of them still want, to fight Seth Rollins. And they'll get that opportunity, but before, they have to face each other. So he says at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, it's going to be John Cena versus Dean Ambrose, and the winner of that match will not only get Seth Rollins that same night, but they'll get Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell. So then Stephanie grabs the mic and she says, so that means either way, one of you is going to hell. And then Ambrose turns Cena around, he kicks him in the gut and hits a double arm DDT on Cena. His music hits, and the show ends with Dean Ambrose standing tall over Cena. So that was it for the show. As far as highlights, well, to me, the highlight was definitely The Rock coming back, making his return, and confronting Rusev. It was, a big surprise, the biggest surprise in a long time, and it was just a great segment too. It was a funny segment, entertaining segment. It was good. To me, it was the best part of the show. And also, now with them showing, an Eric Rowan promo, it seems like, this is not a Luke Harper push. It seems more like this is, I guess, a push for the entire Wyatt family as a whole. Or at least, give the people some background information on both Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. Maybe make the crowd care about them more. Although, I'm already, a fan of both Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. Well, the entire, Wyatt family. And during the Eric Rowan video, there was, in the video they showed, a pregnant belly or something like that. And on it, it was written, it's coming, or something like that, next week, I believe. So, I'm wondering what that's all about. And also, it looks like they're switching up the challengers for the US and IC championships. Where I think we might see Cesaro versus Dolph at Hell in a Cell, and Miz versus Sheamus for the US title at Hell in a Cell as well. Where at Night of Champions, it was, the challengers were switched around. It was, of course, Sheamus versus Cesaro and Dolph versus The Miz. And I think that's pretty much it as far as what I've got to say here. Now, when it comes to a rating for tonight's show, I'd give it a 6 on 10. Really, the best part of Raw, in my opinion, was The Rock's return and his segment with Rusev. Apart from that, I didn't think anything else was really great. There were some really bad segments, specifically the Adam Rose segment with the two chicks. I thought that was, pointless. It was a really bad segment, and I think it's going to go down as one of the worst segments in Raw history. Also, the El Torito Hornswoggle match, or Gator match, or El Torito versus Gator, I don't know. I was really into that. And as far as, the main event match, it just felt like we've seen this over the past couple of weeks. We've seen this a lot. I know this was a 3-on-1 handicap match, but in the past, I think, 2 weeks, well, I'm not just counting weeks, but I'm counting, shows. On Raw last week, we had Dean Ambrose, John Cena versus Kane and Randy. And then on SmackDown, it was the same thing. And then on this Raw, pretty much the same thing. Except, you know, they added Seth Rollins in there and they took out Dean Ambrose, but Dean Ambrose ended up coming out afterwards. It just felt like I said, we had seen it before. We'd seen it for, you know, the past 2 or 3 shows as the main event of the show. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, as always, you can click that like button down below. I'd really appreciate it. And you can expect a WWE Supercard video tomorrow. So for those of you who play Supercard, who like the Supercard videos, make sure to stay tuned for tomorrow. And with that said, I'm out. See ya.